sister, any person who is a criminal is extra intelligent. Crime is a thing of intellectual ability. No novice will go into crime because criminality has to go with brain exercise. Has to go to brain exercise. That is it. It's a brain exercise. So government should even do more to bring.
Yes, we're listening.
Government should do more to look at what these people are made up of. The stuffs.
Talking about government.
Yes.
There's been in the news cases of judicial reforms.
Okay.
Have you been actively involved in any of those reforms? I think one of them was to cut down the length of our waiting trial inmates to make sure that the trial, is expedited.
Yes, of
Tell
course.
us, have you been involved in any of
Good.
those?
No. I still want to be using Ojiriva as
Case study.
a case study, right?
Please, yes.
No. Ojiriva, when they started the issue of this kidnapping and whatever, the magistrate and the judges in Ojiriva, they ran away, come up to ENUGU. And Ojiriva prisons harbors the inmates from Aniri, Ogu, Ojiriva, Eziaga, and part of Udi. And if you come to Ojiriva prisons, 70% of the inmates are from Aniri and Ogu area. Now, the magistrate who is handling that of Oguaniri at Ndiabo, he now relocated to ENUGU. You now begin to look at this in this way. Transportation, logistics to move them to ENUGU. Logistics to move them to Ndiabo. If I go through my phone and my records, I will show you many a times I've on my own approached the magistrate, the judges, trying to discuss with them. Then we will come down to the prisons and look at the case files and pinpoint some cases and say, no, these ones can still be, given amnesty, looking at the content of their crime, not necessarily abandoning them here. And I wouldn't know about. There's one magistrate and a lawyer, a young guy who have been very passionate in what I'm doing. He will just look into those things and say, okay, Reverend, I'll give you a date. Can you bring this image to this? I say yes. Then what I will do, I will go back through the prison authorities, the correctional center authorities, through the parents or family members of those guys, then through my friends, will organize transport systems for them to come to ENUGU. And many has gone through that way.
Interesting.
Are you good, boy?
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Now, are there systems or situations where an inmate probably enjoyed one of your initiatives and another that is still behind the walls of the prisons is saying, how can I access this? Is there a system through which they could write or petition? I know that the Ministry of Justice, they have state prosecutors that probably work via pro bono
services. Yes.
Now, how can an inmate say to himself, I think I have a chance? Can I write to the Ministry of Justice? Okay. Or can I write to your organization? Good. Or maybe a relative? Good. Can they? Because from all you have been saying, it seems as if you're the one going actively to search out case files, to search out inmates. Can an inmate,
voluntarily on his own? No. See, I do
the process by writing you or writing the Ministry.
No, I do organize what I call non-denominational service to them, for them every Sunday's church from 8 to 9. Now, because I have other places I'm handling as a priest now, what I do, there are some Sundays when I come up, once it is 9 o'clock, I'll end up the service and we sit down. All of them who wants to see me, they will come out from the cell, from the detention point, and we'll be discussing. And I see their feelings, see their yearning, see their interest. Then, like I told you, I have some lawyers. What we will now do is to write through those lawyers to the Ministry of Justice.
Good.
All right, to the Ministry of Justice. But much of the times, it takes time for the Minister of Justice to react. It takes time for them to react. The basic one that has been easy for me doing is mediating through the person who is the complainant.
That's another route.
So much of the times, the complainant gives me more landing space better. That when I approach to them, we will now discuss on what do you want?
So that you can close the case.
Exactly. What do you want now at this point? And because that they know me, they see me as a clergyman, so they don't demand. They say, okay, now I'll court you because you're involved on this matter that I don't want to say. I say, okay, please, can you come with me? Let's go to the court. Tell the court that you are not interested in this matter.
All right. Okay, let's talk about a very controversial issue.
All right.
It's an allegation that inmates who have stayed for quite some time could be exchanged. Could be exchanged and probably executed in place of another. Now, how true is this allegation?
Well, I don't have any information on that, sincerely. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so you remember the case, it made the news quite recently, some domestic staff of the wife of former President Ebele Jonathan,
Okay.
That they have been in prison ever since.
Okay.
When Jonathan left
Yes,
office,
yes. Yeah.
that they've been in prison
Okay.
because the wife accused them of stealing her jewelry.
Yeah.
You understand?
Okay.
Now, if you had this kind of issue,
Okay.
right, about some inmates, how would you go about it?
Now the issue now is
sorry to cut you short. Knowing that the individual involved now is a very powerful, political,
okay.
person.
Okay.
So how would you go about it?
Well, I'm even trying to say something this way. That Jonathan and the wife were no more there in power.
Yes.
So why is she now going to resurrect a thing that she should have even forgo?
I don't think she actually did. I think it was the issue came from another quarter.
Okay.
Somebody that raised an alarm.
Okay.
Saying these domestic staff of patients, Jonathan, has been in prison ever since they left office.
Okay.
So I don't think she was the one.
Okay. Now, if consciously or unconsciously she's not aware, all right, then and I have access to her, one of the things I would do is to let her get involved and informed of those things, because in as much her name is at stake. Her name is at stake. I went to a lawyer. He was the director of what did they do that? There was a program that the federal government did. That man happens to be the man in charge of ENUGU state, and he did very well. Some boys went into his house, burgled his house, took off his television, whatever, and those guys were brought into the prisons. When I came around and saw those guys, and they told me, I now used my phone and called the man and said, "Thank you for placing these boys in the prison, but what you have done is wrong, sir." That Shoppy, the man who was in charge of Shoppy, one by the street, Chicago, he's from my area. We're from the same community. I said, "These guys that you abandoned here were going to be here to be roasted." And he said, "What do you want of me?" I said, "Please come and release these boys, because if they have learned how to burgle your house, they are here to learn how to uproot your house." They have done that one because they feel they are a rich man now, so they can take something out of your house and you can forgo it. Now you don't want to forget. You have given them a chance to learn a skill of coming back.
But are you saying people should just be forgiven when
No, my sister. No, my sister. See. No, you look at the reformation system, not just forgiving like that, but the conditions. Okay, did you know that now we call it correctional centers? I don't want to mention any prisons now or any correctional center now, but do you know that you don't have any single pin to learn skill in some of these correctional centers? No single pin. Now, when an inmate will be brought into the correctional center, then take the little what they take, sleeps off, wakes up, and the day continue running. And the day continue running. He might spend 5-6 years. Maybe when he went there, he had no handwork.
Skill.
Now he's out again, no handwork.
And older.
And older. And older. Now I have a case of the oldest man in Ojiriva prison is from Ogu area. One of the cousins I contacted now asked me that what he required for me to do is to ask the man to give them order to sell one of his land so they can use it to pursue his case. But I said, no, I'm not interested. So what I'm not doing that the man who is behind the man's incarceration in the prison, so I've gotten his consent. We're just writing a letter to send to the court for the man to go.
So, Reverend, what's the way forward? When people commit criminal activities,
the way forward that.
What's the way forward?
Yes, we must have to bridge it in between. My friend Reverend, you interviewed before me.
Yes.
I had heard him say something. You see, even it is scriptural. The prophets and the leaders works in communion, in conformity. Some of our leaders has abandoned their duty. The family system is failing below 0%. Now let's go back to the status quo. Let's look around our family values. Where have we lost it to? Do the parents have time to go for their children again? A child of 6 years with his phone online. The father and the mother are just on their own. The housemaid is now in charge. What is the impact of the parents, the life of that child? He goes with that direction. So, the solution is going back to the family value, work on it, psyche reorientation.
Well, Reverend, that's a long-term intervention. I mean, in the immediate. So
No. If you should talk about the immediate now, it's very.
How do we handle?
Then those whom we call our political leaders must come from the point that they should come down as servants. Because somebody who has only O-level result drives jeeps and runs around and blasts everybody and embarrasses anybody around him because he's a common counselor. How do you get to be a counselor? What do you know? You see the moral value of it? So in the interim, if we want to handle it, let us now begin to look at the capacity of individuals to go in different positions of leadership with the interest of service to the people.
All right, Reverend, tell us about the expansion of your foundation, because prior to the interview we were having a talk and you said that the need has a reason for you to move beyond Ojiriva to other parts of Enugu and possibly other parts of Nigeria. Is there a framework to that, or you just move as the Holy Spirit instructs?
Well, the framework of it that, thank God today we have prison chaplaincy as an organization, which I later come to know about it. And I contacted the leader in Enugu State, all right, and we've been talking. And network internet has made things easy. I've been trying to also connect some other interested persons in some other states who are into the prison chaplaincy, so that we can now know how to form a synergy to work with a common frame idea of this is our priority, this is our interest. Then I know, for example, being an Anglican priest from Ojiriva Diocese, my bishop has given me, I told you, my bishop has given me almost 100% free hand to run the prison ministry. And Ogu Anglican Diocese, for example, I've contacted the bishop of Ogu Anglican Diocese, whom he has also delegated a priest to work with me, so that I can now, because I told them that most of the people, like I told you, from this Oji prison that are there, are from Ogwan and any areas. So we need to go down to the grassroots to liaise with the Igwes, the security agencies, and others. So that, what can we do on the background? Because once it gets out of the community, goes into the place, goes to the court, the next thing is to prisons.
All right. Have you had any work with a female inmate? What has the experience been for you?
Well,
is it just male inmates? And
I've not much worked in ENUGU prisons. I've come in contact with some female inmates, and what brought me to them was a case of connecting through their family members. Their family members who now knew me as a mediator
reached out
to so they knew me as a mediator. They now come to me, discussing with me the plight they are feeling about their wars in the prisons, and I came in there. They are females, and we look at their cases, and like I told you, most of the times I use the complainant at the center point, because if the complainant agrees with me, then the lawyers and the magistrates are just walk over. But if the complainants are not in agreement with what we are doing, you may try to move on, and when the magistrate or the lawyers and the judges ask the complainant, what is your view? I say, no, let this case continue. The case continues.
Okay. So there's no personal work with a female inmate?
No, not at all.
Not yet?
Not at all for now.
Okay.
No, for now.
But there's plans to expand?
No, of course. It is for humanity. My assignment is for humanity.
All right. You did mention the rights of the inmates,
yes,
right? Do they have a right to vote?
No, not necessarily right to vote. The country constitution section 1999 Constitution of Nigeria give them the right to fair hearing, right to live in the normal life, right not to be victimized. Because like I told you before, if you look at Indonesian history, I watch it through the net that in Indonesia, they use even the image to develop the agricultural sector. But where do we have our own here? Nowhere. Once you are an inmate, you are into that organized war. We call it a world after the world. So once you are into that world, like in ENUGU, for example, here, before you can have access to an inmate in ENUGU here, it used to be a troublesome thing. A lot of processes and protocols for you to get. But these are the persons who were there. People has to come for them. People need to come for them. They are not there to be abandoned.
All right. Are there any? Your ministry is quite a lot.
Yes, of
from
course.
the education, the health, awaiting trials, trying to reach out to the accusers and things like that, mediation, arbitration. Is there any room for maybe post-prison rehabilitation and integration?
Good.
Do you do that too?
God bless you. And now,
bless you too, sir.
God bless you. God bless you. I am. You see, I have been able to, by grace of God, assist in releasing of some of those inmates, whereby we have an agreement on what you're going to learn after here. And some of them will say like mechanic and whatever. I'll go on my own to do the agreement with the mechanic, the engineers.
Do they stay?
Some stays, some flies away. But the way I handle them make that some of them stays, because I don't give them to a person who lives outside the Oji River. I visit.
You have oversight.
I come around you. Even the Capio organization of the Roman Catholic Church in Oji, they have also such things. I'm very close with the Reverend Father who is in Church of Capio, and there were some inmates that were released in Oji and were sent to Capio to learn some skills. But those guys are from the north. And one of them is dentally ran away that he can't stay. But there are some who are still there. So those follow up, and because we are running some of these things empty-handed, that's why I'm having problems. That's where I'm now calling on the politicians to come and assist, because it's not necessarily using them in the time of election to win the election.
How do you mean use them?
Yes, of course.
But you say they don't have any right to vote.
No. I mean those boys who becomes prisoners afterwards.
Oh.
Yes. Those boys we thought that they are nuisance in society. Instead of now our politicians to work on them, to create room for them, to now be reorganized in their mental frame, now they will be looking for opportunity to use them to carry ballot box and whatever. And at the end of the day, when they'll be arrested to be imprisoned, they'll just be there. No, I told you I go into them. One of them told me, I'm not going to mention him now, how he was paid and was used on election day, and after the whole thing, he was abandoned. The way I tell about going back to the family value now, societal value, because we must have to treat these things from there. So that if a child is being trained properly, he may not be a talk to anybody. If a child is being followed up very well, nobody can convince him to go into those evil ideas.
Absolutely, and that's a great way to end this interview. Train up a child in the way the child should go.
That when they get old, they will not depart from it. The Bible said it. It will in the book of Proverbs, all right?
Thank you.
Yes, train a child the way they should grow.
Much.
God bless you.
We've been talking about welfare of inmates in Nigerian correctional service centers, and Reverend Francis Ago has been so gracious and so insightful. Thank you so much.
God bless you, my sister.
God bless you.
God bless.
All right, New Day continues right after this break. Do stay with us.